Hello and welcome to the Siebel 21 Highlights Overview. So before we start in detailing out the biggest innovations in 2021 for Siebel CRM, let's take a look at the past of Siebel, which is the present of many projects. So you could be on any old Siebel version still, like IP14 or even earlier. And if you're on anything earlier than IP17, you get or got updates from Oracle in the last Innovation Pack series 14 to 16. These were about 1.5 year worth, or 18 or 19 months of updates or patches. And then you hit the wall of end of patch. So Oracle does not provide any more patches for those old releases, and you have to upgrade your IP 14, 15, 16, or even earlier, go through the lengthy upgrade process and go to the latest release, which at the time of this recording is 21.12. So you could upgrade from anything literally 7.5 or higher. It's a lengthy process, but you can get to 21.12 directly. If you did an upgrade in the years after IP17 was released in 2017, you upgraded to the latest available version, let's say 20.6, which was your upgrade goal in 2020, and you're running live on 20.6. So now you want to get to the latest 21, or next year it will be 22 dot something, and you would just apply an update instead of running a lengthy upgrade process. And that continuous innovation or continuous release model is something that Oracle developed not just for Siebel CRM, but also for all the other applications unlimited products, which include Siebel CRM, but also products like PeopleSoft, JD Edwards, eBusiness Suite, or Hyperion. So with anything above 17.0, you are eligible for the continuous release model. So you could simply apply your update. And let's just, for the fun of it, say you're currently on something below Siebel 21 and 1 year has passed or more and you're getting ready to update. So let's see what Siebel 21 actually brought us over the past 12 months. So here are the highlights of Siebel CRM 21 as we go through the monthly updates, and we literally only cover some of the most important highlights, and that's pretty much my own personal selection I did here from what must be hundreds of different fixes and enhancements and new features across the last 12 months. So we will discuss the features listed here. I'm not going to read the list, but instead dive right into 21.1. So in January 21, Oracle announced the support for running Siebel CRM applications on the Oracle Autonomous Database Transaction Processing ATP database on dedicated Exadata infrastructure, either running on OCI, Oracle Cloud Infrastructure, or using Oracle Cloud at customer. So this announcement, of course, was a very welcome addition to the already impressive stack of databases supported by Siebel or supported for Siebel. So now, if you want, you can run your Siebel 21 or later on ATP on OCI or Oracle Cloud at customer. A very important, and maybe the most important highlight in terms of architecture, was the general availability of the modular deployment engine, or MDE, in February, which introduced for the first time in Siebel history a single installer that can install all the Siebel components, so the so-called enterprise components such as SES, Cloud Gateway, AI, but also the Windows components that you install, like Siebel Tools, Developer Web Client, or Mobile Web Client. And it does away with the need for a base 17.0 installation. So if you're installing anything higher than 21.1, that is 21.2 or later, you don't need to download or find on your network drives those 17.0 installers. They're no longer needed. And the MDE supports all kind of installation paths. That is a new or fresh installation, a so-called migration installation, which you could use during an upgrade, a installation for a real upgrade, let's say, and an update from versions prior, or actually version 17.0 and higher. The MDE also includes the post-install database setup utility, which is run as part of the SES update. So that is for an update scenario only. In 21.3, we picked the highlight here, the concurrent workspace delivery, which is relevant if you run Siebel in multiple languages. So this speeds up your workspace publishing or delivery process by running the delivery in parallel and not sequentially anymore. Also note there is a system preference to take control of this concurrent or sequential processing. In case you have any problems with that, you can set it back. 21.4, the April release, was a big one in terms of Siebel Web Tools, where Web Tools got equipped with the first of hopefully many wizards, and Oracle chose to make the first wizard the Web Service Wizard, also known as the WSDL/JSON import wizard, which helps us import, well, WSDL files or JSON files to create proxy business services for outbound SOAP or outbound REST connections, and along with the proxy integration objects. It is noteworthy here that these wizards that will likely follow, and that is pure speculation on my end, will use, similar to the existing web service wizard, the Siebel Task UI to implement the functionality, which is a nice, let's say, boosting confidence for Siebel Task UI. Another change or enhancement that Web Tools got in 21.4 is the availability of the workflow process simulator, which relies on the debug service architecture introduced in 20.11. So you can now, from the comfort of your browser, not just create or modify workflow processes, but also run a simulation, which requires a specific setup, but of course is in parallel to the existing Siebel Tools functionality. And another one for 21.4, which gets an honorable mention here, is that Zookeeper got an update after 4 years running in the 3.4 version. Now Zookeeper, if you update or upgrade to 21.4 or higher, your Zookeeper will be a 3.6 version, and that comes along with a slight change in the folder naming conventions and file naming conventions. So if you update from 17.0 to 21.4 or higher, then keep in mind that your file names, folder names change, and if you have any custom scripting based on that or any backup scripts based on those old folder names, better review those scripts. 21.5 introduced the certification for Oracle Analytics Server 5.5 and later was extended to 5.9. The current version of OAS. OAS is the successor of Oracle Business Intelligence 12c, the product formerly known and fondly known as Siebel Analytics, which has a great past in and present in the Oracle product portfolio. This also includes the Oracle Analytics Publisher, which is now the name of BI Publisher, which is of course integrated still with Siebel for Siebel reporting. So OAS, Oracle Analytics Server, and OAP are the on-premises variants of Oracle Analytics Cloud, which is the same software base, albeit Oracle Analytics Cloud gets updated more often than Oracle Analytics Server on-premises. In 21.6, there was a kind of premiere release as the efforts and innovations that Oracle took to get the DX4C product, the Digital Experience for Communications Industry application suite in the Oracle Cloud, ready. And this includes changes to Siebel CRM, because Siebel CRM is a back-end service in DX4C supporting the commerce part, the products and configuration part and shopping cart of DX4C. So DX4C uses the Siebel REST API, and as the effort of Oracle's are ongoing in that, the REST API of Siebel got several enhancements, workflow processes, business services, etc. got strengthened out to support that DX4C connectivity, and as a result, on-premises customers using DX4C or not at all benefit from that in the improvements of the REST API. The first improvement was delivered with the availability of the Siebel Commerce REST API in 21.6. In summer, in July, 21.7 included a minor set of features and fixes, among which we just mentioned the SMC and SMA, the Siebel Management Console and Siebel Migration Application user interface overhaul, which was a set of improvements to make the user interface and user experience in those two applications more responsive and use the screen estate more intelligently. The August release 21.8 included, among other things, enhancements for the product configurator in the areas of cache management and session pooling. Interesting detail here is that the product configurator, as many of us know it, part of the customer order management, will continue to use the iLog constraint engine. So this has been announced in December 2020. And so the ACT, or Advanced Constraint Technology, has been obsoleted as of December 2020. And just recently, at the time of this recording, just a few days ago, Oracle also announced the official obsolete state of the enterprise cache that supported the ACT solution. So basically, the only change here is that it does not change in terms of what constraint engine the configurator will be using in the future. If you are using Siebel Test Automation, that is the part that has been introduced in 17.0 as to recording and playing back test scripts in the Siebel client, this test automation relies on a Selenium extension used by DISA, the desktop integration Siebel agent, and was pretty much hard-coded. And in 21.9, there's a significant enhancement. It's a tiny little step for Oracle to add a new keyword named custom extension, but allows giant leaps for the test script authors to now run Java classes, execute Java classes as part of a test script, including, of course, any Selenium gymnastics you want to do, but also anything else you can run with Java on the machine running the DISA client during playback. So a great addition here for the test automation users. Going to fall of 2021 in October, one significant enhancement and very stealthily introduced as part of the Unity integration. Unity is a cloud product of Oracle that is now officially integrated with Siebel by means of pushing CSV files to Oracle Object Storage on the Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. And then those CSV files are going to be picked up by Unity. But this introduced a extension or a new architecture for exporting in bulk and incrementally CSV data to the file system, to folders on your on-premises or cloud machines, but also introducing an architecture to exporting those CSV files to Oracle Object Storage, where, of course, anything can pick them up, not just Unity. In the November release 21.11 saw the web tools enhancements going stronger for the handling of CIF files, the archive, the infamous archive files that you could export with web tools object by object in the earlier releases, but now web tools 21.11 and higher has full support for export and import, most notably of CIF files. So the import wizard has been created with TaskUI, here it is again, to, well, simulate the Siebel tools experience in the comfort of your browser. And yeah, just fresh from the oven, the 21.12 release or update introduced, among other things, of course, the attachment support for the inbound REST API, which might be just long awaited by some of us. And so it supports GET or query operations as well as insert or update scenarios. And if you look deeper into the documentation available, then you will find that base 64 reigns supreme here, so you can insert, upsert attachments if you encode them as base 64 as the value of the so-called attachment ID field. And during download, you can decide if you want the base 64 string or you want the file download right away. Of course, this requires that any integration object used, either for the data or service API, must include the attachment business component referenced by an integration component. So that was a quick walkthrough of the, well, the most prominent personal selection here from yours truly of Siebel 21 features. There are way more features and enhancements in Siebel 21 than you might think. So to get a complete overview, of course, there's Siebel Bookshelf for you to read. There's the release notes from Oracle, and the Siebel Hub is proud to present you with free monthly Siebel CRM update videos that go back as early as 18.7. So follow the link in the description to get to the playlist on the Siebel Hub YouTube channel, where you can watch all monthly update videos, and they include everything, not just the highlights we discussed in this short video. Also, if you're interested in getting yourself or your team ready for Siebel 22, the Siebel Hub is the proud provider of the most up-to-date Siebel CRM training available on the web. Most of the trainings are available as recorded on-demand videos, self-study materials, and or live online events which we can schedule with the best Siebel instructors. The material is ready for Siebel 22, but we are planning to update the course material if necessary for features that come monthly, as we know. So follow the links in the descriptions to get more information about how to stay on the bleeding edge with your monthly Siebel CRM updates. So that's it for a quick Siebel CRM 21 highlights summary. Thanks for watching. Take care, stay safe, and bye-bye.